Well, good morning and welcome to the Under the Hood Show. My name is Josh Profit. I'm the service director here at Mel Hambelton Ford. Alongside me today is Kelly Hamilton, the Quick Lane manager. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Josh.
How are things going for you today?
Well, they were going real good up until when you asked me to come on here and do this with you.
Up until you got vetold.
Yeah, voluntold.
So there's supposed to be another gentleman here with us as well. Let's see. Gus is what Gus, what are you doing to us here? Probably fixing some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, there's supposed to be another gentleman here with us as well. I don't know. Maybe he got sick last night. I don't know.
I think he might be sleeping.
You think so?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, not that gentleman. So Phil's off today. He's out of town. They're racing up in Hayes. I meant to talk to him last night and see kind of how things went last night and how they're rolling along. But raced last night and then racing again today as well. So you're gonna have to. Here,
Gus just had to get in there and block my face out.
Well, I think that's what the deal was.
Must have had some complaints on
you got the face for radio.
Yeah,
So
right.
why don't you scoot this way so you're not blocked off by that number there? There we go. Thank you, Gus, for making that happen. So I'd asked about. I was like, man, that image is backwards. Trying to figure out what the deal was there. And something switch mode on the video. It was Kelly. He really was over here touching buttons right when we were headed live this morning. So very good, very good.
If you put the stuff in front of me,
you're gonna touch the buttons. Yeah. Well, very good. Well, hey, this is a call-in show. 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us, and let's talk anything automotive. I've got a long list of things that I wanted to discuss today. So we had some topic of discussions. I kept them secret though, because I didn't want you having anything on your own agenda to talk about.
Yeah.
But
would have been awful if I could have planned for something.
So first, let's go into what about this industry got you from being the little kid that held the flashlight in all the wrong places for your dad doing the repair. So your dad's working on something, you're over there holding the flashlight for him, and you're chasing bugs with the flashlight.
Oh yeah.
To get into this industry to start out with. So I'm going to ask the question to you, but then I'm also going to ask the question to the listeners. And I want to get some calls in today of a mechanical experience that you've had. So, you tried to attempt to do something, how the outcome of that was. Did you, of course, with the internet obviously is more prevalent now, but maybe you attempted a repair years ago before the internet. And how did that work out? Typically what you see a lot of times in situations in a garage or driveway mechanics, there's a lot of cursing involved.
there can be some of that.
A lot of cursing involved, and a lot of maybe fingers or the blood under the nails, stuff like that as well. And so to all the callers out there, again, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us and call in, and let's hear about your driveway mechanical story. And for each and every caller that calls into the show, we'll mail you out a package. But it consists of the works, which is an oil change, tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete a multi-point inspection, checking over your brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components on that vehicle, getting it geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. You'll receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer for your vehicle. And then a BG Products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So let's, while we're waiting on some callers, we need some callers to call in here. to talk about their driveway mechanical stories. I've got a couple that I experienced early on in, well, I guess maybe what helped me get into this field a little bit. So, but talk to me about what got you into this industry.
Man, it was just for me, it was just growing up around it, my dad and uncle raced cars when I was a real little kid out there at 81 Speedway. And, I always thought that was really cool. Spent a lot of time hanging around my grandpa, working on all sorts of different things, everything from tractors to small engines to cars. And then, repairing my own vehicles from the time I was 13, 14 years old. And, one thing led to another, and it was just something that I kind of had a pretty good knack at, thanks to my dad and grandpa, and a lot of hands-on experience. And here we are.
A lot of potential broken stuff, right?
Lots of broken stuff. Oh yeah. I wasn't exactly easy on my vehicles as a teenager either.
Yes.
Yeah. I had a long run there where, I was doing an engine swap or a transmission swap about every 5-6 months.
That's because it wasn't done right the first time.
Well, so my passion was like 70s F-150s, and I had 9 of them. Actually got my dad in trouble with the county when I was a teenager for having all those out there. But you take those old farm trucks and throw a teenager in it, and they don't like that a whole lot,
Yeah, very I think there's and we go through this a lot with hiring into the industry, going out and talking to the Votechs, the trades colleges and high schools, and even some just high school classes as well. But the motivating factor for this industry seems to always be racing. Everybody wants to go fast and be a part of that. And so, I think that's always a lead into the technical side of things.
Sure.
And it's definitely exhilarating seeing these younger men and women get into it because of that. But then when it becomes eye-opening that, hey, this could be a career. For sure. And it's to be able to help somebody make those transitions and then try to guide them to I don't know. There's so many black eyes in this industry. There's so many things that could be negative in the wrong environments and stuff like that. But to be able to provide a place of employment and work with these individuals and try to give them the best of, when it comes to tools and equipment and help with training. And, we were very, very pro training around here for sure. Just to get them as much information as they can so they can succeed. So much of that relies on not only the individual, but the employer too. And we take that very serious here for sure.
Absolutely.
So, hey, 316-462-3673. Let's talk about your driveway repair experience. So I've got a couple here.
What about you?
So I can remember very, very, very young age. I can remember my uncle having an old Caprice. Kelly's over here touching buttons again. Sorry, guys. So we'll get that.
No, that wasn't me.
That wasn't him. I remember this old Caprice is a boat of a car, just big. I don't even remember what engine was in it, but it had a vacuum leak, and the vacuum leak was coming from the intake manifold gaskets. Okay, and again, he had no mechanical experience, no business doing this, anything like that. But it was just out of, I think I can do this type deal. Looking back now, I think of...
Is this back before YouTube?
This is like I was, I don't even know that I was 8 or 9 yet. I mean,
Yeah.
this was pretty long time ago from that side of things. So anyways, so I had a vacuum leak, and it was the intake gasket that was leaking. So he goes to take off the intake and like cannot get this intake to come off. Okay. It will not come off, and thinks that it's just because of like the weight of the intake and the fact that it might be like kind of silicone down to the block, even to the point where we got a like I'm going to say a ratchet strap or like a come along, and was trying to pull it off the top of the engine from the intake to the rafters of the garage. And at some point, I vividly remember. So my great uncle was kind of mechanically inclined, and I remember him walking into the garage because my uncle had called my great uncle and said, "Hey, would you mind come taking a look at this and seeing what the deal is and what's going on?" And so I remember him walking into the garage, and I just remember the look on his face. And when we talked about explicit cuss words and stuff like that, that's how the conversation went. It was what in
the world are you guys doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is going on? There is no like anyways, it ended up he was missing a couple of bolts that he hadn't taken out yet to completely remove this thing. And so
I mean, granted, with enough pressure, that intake would have eventually came off, even with those still in there.
It for sure would have came off. And so I just remember that very vividly. I remember him walking around the corner in the garage and seeing the ratchet strap where it's pulling up on the intake. And then so that was one half of it. So then he helps him get it off, and then kind of lets him be and do his thing. And then I remember when he went back on with it, if a little is great, then a lot is so much better. So silicone had the intake gaskets in there and everything like that. Used so much silicone that it clogged up one of the coolant passages on this intake, and so the thing would overheat after. Anyways, long and the short of the story is that thing got to make a trip to an actual repair shop later on down the road to get repaired correctly. So yeah, let's get some calls coming in. 316-462-3673.
You know,
if
Josh,
it's
I found a lot of instances with silicone, less is more, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
It just doesn't take a lot.
But I think you have to go through a phase where more is more before you get to the instance where less is more. So, but yeah, 316-462-3673. Let's call in with your driveway mechanical experience. And it doesn't even, if you want to change things around a little bit and make it not about you or somebody else, you're more than welcome to do that. But 316-462-3673, that's the number to jump on the air here with us and discuss that. So,
you know, some of us do grow out of that silicone phase and some don't. Speaking of, I wonder if Jeremy's watching this thing.
Let's see, Jeremy, I'm not sure. So
on here.
So what, how about you? You got one? Cause I got another one. So, but, again, tried to kind of put you on the spot here a little bit on that side of things.
Man,
but
there's just been so much over the years. So brakes, my first experience with brakes was, watching, let's go to the whole pump the pedal thing. And this actually wasn't me. It was my uncle. He was over at my grandfather's shop, and he had just done a brake job on it. I think he was working on his wife's vehicle and just did a brake job. And I was kind of out there at the same time tinkering, and he jumped in the car and threw it in reverse and exited the shop, went right across their driveway, and took out their well house.
Oh,
with the back
no.
of the car. Because he didn't
pump the brakes after he put it on.
Yep.
So I've seen that happen seen that happen a couple of times for sure. That's just you get in, you throw it and drive, and here we go, taking off. So very good. Well, 316-462-3673. That's the number. Jump on the air here with us and give us a call. I'm getting text from an individual that watched me take a bath in some transmission fluid, and I did in fact do that. That was a professional dumb mistake.
Yeah.
For sure. I bet there might even still be some transmission fluid dripping off the roof of that shop right now today, if I had to guess, for sure. So, but yeah, that's the goal of the day. I've got another topic that I wanted to discuss as well. It's been a real busy week around here. We talk on the show all the time about preventative maintenance and how you can walk down through the shop at any given time and see, several $1,000s in repairs that are having to be made just because of the maintenance side of things.
Absolutely.
And so it's one of those things that I get it, as a consumer, you get busy. You're not the thing your vehicle starts, runs, drives, moves. Like, why do I need to do that?
Yep.
What's the reasoning for that? And so it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind thing. But I've got some pictures today of an example of exactly what we talk about on this show. And so I was going to kind of share those. Kelly, you're on the preventative maintenance side of things a lot, and get the opportunity to get those performed and looked at and taken care of. But it's one of those things that it is real. If you keep avoiding the preventative maintenance side of it, eventually you're going to have to perform massive repairs.
Absolutely.
And so, but let's go through. I'm going to show some of the viewers here some of these photos. So I'll get it up on the screen here. We're going to pull this up here. And so we got a further zoomed in view of this as well. But this is out of a 52,000 mile expedition that belongs to a larger rental fleet. And what's going on here?
Man, that definitely has quite a bit of sludge buildup going on there.
So we can go to this picture here. So this is 50,000 miles or 52,000 miles.
That is wild.
And we have, there are some maintenance records. There were, I think, two oil changes, maybe 3 oil changes that were performed on this thing. But we're at a point now. So the reason this came in is actually this last picture here. So this is the turbo on this engine. Okay. So it's an EcoBoost engine, but basically this turbo, what you say, is probably about the size of, I'm going to say maybe a baseball.
Well, just slightly smaller than a baseball.
Yeah, smaller than a baseball here. And then these right here are supposed to be very sharp bladed fins. You can see that they're ground down. But these blades, what's happened here is there's a bearing right here that the turbo spins on in the housing. And that bearing, I would say, is probably about the size of a nickel. Would you say? So about the size of a nickel. Well, that bearing is lubricated by engine oil, right? Okay. So, and this thing's spinning at ungodly RPMs.
Tens of thousands of
RPMs. So it's sitting here spinning around. Think of how many revolutions this thing's made in 50,000 miles.
Yeah.
And that's lubricated by your engine oil. Well, if your engine oil is this, how is that getting to those small little passages?
And that's what I was going to bring up, Josh. And especially in these new engines and the technology and designs we have today and everything like that, you look at the sludge in that engine, and all it's going to take is one one piece of that
chunk of this
breaking off
to fall off,
just block out one of those oil passages, and you're done.
it just starves it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, okay, in this particular situation, like if we damaged a turbo because we didn't get oil to this bearing right here, right? So then the turbo starts breaking apart. Well, these blades right here start sending particles through the engine. But you can see all the pitting around all the sides of this this housing, this turbo housing. That's all those fine fragments of metal blades that are breaking apart, and they're spinning around so fast that they're actually embedding themselves into the side, and they're hot.
Yep.
When they do that.
And what doesn't embed itself is winding up in your cylinders and your cylinder walls, your pistons, your damage in your piston rings, valves, all the way through it.
And so, this was had to be a complete engine replacement. It was a complete engine replacement with 2 new turbos as well. But this repair, we're talking a little over $11,000 for a complete engine assembly with a couple of turbos, and then the labor to do that.
Well, and just to think that a repair like that was 100% absolutely avoidable. With proper maintenance.
That's exactly right. So, hey, we've got our first caller on the line. So let's go to the phones here. Let's talk to Joe. Joe, you're live with Under the Hood. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing today?
We're doing very well.
Good.
This is a really long story. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Back in 71, Dad had told my brother that he could race. He bought a race car that someone had started, had a roll cage in it, and had a 6-cylinder. And he brought it home and told us to take the motor out of it. Well, we had no tools, no garage even. And so we borrowed tools from the neighbors. We borrowed 8 cinder blocks from a business down the street using a bumper jack and a bottle jack. One tire at a time, we raised up and put the cinder block under the tires. We got the motor loose, turned it sideways, and shoved it out the bottom. And then we used the other 4 cinder blocks and kept pushing the car back and rotating the blocks until the car was behind the motor, jacked it all up, raised it, lowered it back down, took everything back. When Dad come home, he seen that motor out, couldn't believe it, asked us how we did it. We told him, and he's like, I didn't think you could do it. Well, what he said was, you can't do that. And we're like, well, we didn't know that. That's the only way we could figure out how to get it out. And yeah, we had nothing. Dad had always, other than the first year that he raced, he had always drove for somebody. So he never, we never had a garage or shop, tools or anything. So that's how we got that engine out of that Chevy.
Joe, you are my kind of people.
So, and it's there's something to be said about means of necessity, right?
Doing it out of necessity, absolutely.
We got it. The option is we have to figure this out.
Yep.
That's the option. So how are we going to do it?
And when this is a little off the subject, but when my dad gave my brother permission to race, he was 16, and we didn't have a truck, trailer, car, tools, garage. We had nothing whatsoever. The very first thing he did in school, that's when they had woods and mechanics classes and all that in schools. He built a trophy case for the trophies that he was going to win. And he brought, that's the very first thing he did. He brought that thing home, and Dad just could not believe that that's the direction he went.
You gotta have some admiration for that.
You ever talk to anybody that's got that kind of confidence in what it is they're gonna do?
I wish.
I love that. I absolutely love that. That's go to wood shop to build a trophy. Well, very good.
Yeah.
But so let me ask you this: when growing up, were you the flashlight holder?
No, not really. Now, my brother was 4 years older than me and had a girlfriend. And when all this happened, I was probably 12 years old.
Yeah.
12, 13. I was the mechanic.
Oh,
I did the work.
Yeah.
We would start working on the car, and he was good for about 15 minutes. Then he was off, going to see his girlfriend, and I worked on the car.
You finished up on the car.
We would never have been able to race had, I was the one that I changed the bearings in the engine and everything. And I learned by doing it. Had the book, that the old mechanics books that they used to have. That's kind of how we did it.
Kind of going again back to that out of necessity deal. And what I will tell you too is I almost feel, because it's the amount of like tools and equipment and knowledge and stuff that you had to have back then. I mean, you could take a motor apart with a 9/16, a half inch, a 7/16, maybe a 3/8. There might be some 5/8 stuff in there, but that compared to now versus that back then, completely different.
We went to Sears, and remember those gray steel toolboxes kits tool kits that they had. We bought one of those.
Yep.
And we come home, we disassembled that engine. We took it our house had a quarter basement in it. We took it down, we rebuilt that engine in the basement.
Yep.
And we assembled it. We thought we could put it on a dolly and get it out. We could not do that. So we had to take it back apart.
Oh, no.
And we was able to get the short block. Dad had a refrigerator, or he had an appliance business. So using a refrigerator dolly, we got the short block out and then all the rest parts and took it down to Dad's appliance business and put it back together. Well, by then Dad had seen the effort, that we were doing.
Yeah.
And he went and bought a complete turnkey race car. So we took that motor and put it in a 60 Chevy truck that we was going to use for a tow truck, using the rafters, and was able to borrow a chain fall. And we put that motor in that truck. And then when I went to start it, and I didn't know a lot, I knew that the lights would come on, the warning lights come on when you start it, and then they go off after it runs for a little bit. We got the motor started it up, and I remember going up, Dad was up in the office, and I said, how long before that oil light goes out? And he said, it's not out. I said, no, shut it off. We went, shut the truck off. He comes back there and he said, did you put the plastic clip between the distributor and the oil pump? And I'm like, what plastic clip? And so needless to say, we took the engine back out and put new bearings in it and put it back in and got it going again.
And the plastic clip between the distributor and the pump.
And I would assume you got a little faster at pulling that engine and tearing it apart every time you had to do it,
Yeah, it went better. And then we had an old trailer, and we're pulling the car to the racetrack, and like for every week, for like 4 weeks, we got stopped by a police officer. And I think it was the same one. I really don't remember. The first week, he gave us a ticket because we had the safety chain tied to the bumper with a clothes hanger. And he didn't think that was safe enough.
For some reason, that's not going to hold it.
Yeah, we got fix-it tickets 3 out of the 4 times we got stopped. All on the trailer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good experience. A lot of memories.
But we're going racing.
Yeah. That was it. That was it.
Well, very good. Very good. Very much enjoyed your story. Appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us.
Yeah, I listen quite often. This is only the second time I've called in.
Yeah. Well, very much appreciate the story. And, you know, it's, I don't know, that can be, I think it amazes me how when you kind of have this in your blood, the pain and suffering you'll go through early on in your career or early on, you know, just to gain that experience and knowledge and stuff like that. And honestly, you know, sometimes for me personally, that's the best way to learn something is school of hard knocks, I guess, for sure. So yeah, greatly appreciate your story.
Yeah. I taught myself how to weld, and I started racing when I was 16. Well, when I was 17, I rolled a car for the first time, and my first thought was, I'm going to find out about my welding.
Yeah. It looks real good. Let's see how it holds up.
Yeah. Hey, you guys have a good day. Good show.
You too. Thanks for the call. All right. Bye.
You know, talking to Joe there, it just memories started flooding back, and you know, I remember all sorts of questionable stuff that I did on my vehicles growing up, and man.
Well, and like I said, we got another caller we'll get him patched through here, but it's out of, I guess, the desire, the need, or the want, or you know, that what you endure when it comes to redoing something like that, or racing or something like that. So let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Richard. Richard, you're on live with Under the Hood. Good morning.
Good morning to you guys. My first experience with doing anything on a car was my dad bought for my mom. My dad bought it was brand new. It was a 1964 AMC Rambler, and it had the inline 6-cylinder in it. And we had the car for a long time. It was a good car, bought it brand new in '64, and we had it until 1978. It's a good car. But let's see, it must have been around like 1974. My sister went out one morning to start borrowing the car, started the car up. All of a sudden, luckily it happened at home, but the head gasket lets loose. So there's water all over the driveway and so forth. So the first experience with doing any car work is my dad comes out, and naturally it runs our Saturday. It happened on a Saturday. Luckily it was the weekend.
Yep.
So the Saturday was runs because he has to do this. So back then the cars were real simple, inline 6-cylinder, house, just like you said, 9/16 ratchet, you know, so forth, whatever it is to take the head bolts out. Pretty simple on a 6-cylinder. So get the head bolts all out, undo the rockers, the push rods, and all that stuff. Get the head off, get it clean, get it all cleaned up. This is an all-day chore, by the way, on a Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And he says, "Okay, ready to go here." And after a couple hours, the head's off. He's cleaning all the cooling out of the cylinders, all that stuff, cleaning the gasket surface, all that stuff. He says, "Okay, I'm ready to go. Bring the cylinder head over here." I could not even lift that cylinder head. It was a big old 6-cylinder
cast
cylinder
iron
head. Yep. And, oh man, that thing was ultra heavy, and he got a little upset that I could not lift that freaking cylinder head to get it over on the car. So there's a few choice words on that deal. And he got the cylinder head over there, and got the cylinder head on it, put it on. No torque wrench at all. He just it was a ratchet, just the biggest ratchet we had, and just tightened it down. Kind of guessomatic on the torquing on the bolts to get them torqued down correctly.
Yep.
But the dang thing, it started up, ran good. I don't even think we had to pull the distributor. I think it was down on the side of the block. You didn't even have to pull the distributor around. so no timing got messed up. So, but it was a humongous mess in the park or in the driveway there, and that car lasted for 14 years, and it ran good. And I don't even know why that head gasket decided to let go, but it was a lot of fun watching that one Saturday afternoon. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. That was the first car experience stuff I've gone through.
Yeah, that's part of me wonders if he knew that you were going to struggle lifting that head gasket, and so that's why he sent you over to do it, or that head off there. That's why he sent you over to do it. Just being there before,
Right?
So
I don't know how heavy that thing, but it had to be way over 100 pounds, and it was just wow! It was just a monstrous cylinder head, 6-cylinder head, and I barely could budge it off a bench, and luckily, he got that thing on there, and just it's amazing how heavy cast iron cylinder heads are on some of these older cars.
So would your dad tackle mechanical repairs like that previously, or was that just kind of the first? Let's do this.
Oh, there was numerous brake jobs that I watched him do on our cars. If he didn't have to take it to a repair place, he would not do it. I mean, he's the type of he was in tool and die, mechanical type of stuff, and at that time was Boeing. So I mean, if it absolutely did not have to go someplace, he would do all of our own work at home, brake jobs and things like that. So I mean,
you got the opportunities. You got the opportunity several times to hold that flashlight. Then is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm seventh out of 8 kids. I mean, we're kind of strapped for money too a little bit.
Yeah.
So anything that had to be done at home was done at home as far as any kind of repair stuff. So that's how that went.
Very, very good. Very good story. Thank you very much for sharing that.
You guys have a good afternoon.
You too. Hey, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us. Share your driveway mechanical story. Could be as simple as changing out a washer fluid jet or a wiper arm or a wiper blade. How many times you seen somebody struggle with a wiper blade? There are some, and this is no joke. There are some tricky design wiper blades out there for sure.
There are a lot of different styles.
And then they make pretty much every manufacturer has this universal adapter bracket deal and trying to figure out the A, B, C, D, E, F, G system on how that attaches can be definitely pretty tricky sometimes. Very for sure. So I had a couple of really great stories here this morning about driveway repairs. If you've got one, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us. Talk about how you got to hold the flashlight.
I don't know, Josh. I think that AMC said lasted 14 years and it wasn't even put on with a torque wrench. I think I'd call that was a win. Success story.
Yeah, that was a win
for sure.
Yeah, that and going back to, again, we talk about the tools needed and stuff like that, and what it would have took tools wise then to do that, and what it would take tools wise now to do that.
Absolutely.
And then you try that now on an aluminum head. Oh yeah,
torque-sealed bolts.
Not even reusing. You reuse a bolt, and you're probably going to be in trouble for sure. But then also, from the reasoning why is, okay, well, think of the weight that he was talking about. You pull a cylinder head off now, you can almost toss it up in the air, from the weight saving side of things. But then the fuel economy and how much better they are, how much longer they last. We talk about that all the time as far as, years ago, 100,000 miles, a car was destined for a salvage yard, and now we can have 100,000 miles before it's paid off, pretty easily for sure. So, hey, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us, and let's talk about your mechanical driveway mechanical story for sure. So I've got another one that I was going to share as well.
Is that a Wonder Bread jacket back there?
That is because Yeah, that is because that is. So, hey, I want to go through these pictures one more time of this is we talk about preventative maintenance and why it's so important to do routine preventative maintenance. We've got a engine here. It's got 52,000 miles on it, and the whole engine and turbos had to be replaced again just because of lack of maintenance, not changing oil. Something as simple as what just blows me away is I don't know, let's say every oil change that this needed, let's say $300. $300 away from this not doing this to now this needing an over $11,000 repair.
Yeah.
And then my other thing is that this is something that when this happened, it broke. Like it left somebody stranded somewhere.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you did the preventative maintenance, you get to choose when you could do that. You know, it's your choice to have it done. You get to pick the time, you get to pick and it might not be the most convenient thing, or it may take just a little longer than what you think it should or something like that. But it just blows me away that we're to this point over, over, I guess, a little bit of time, a little bit of money that could have made the outcome of that be completely different. So,
well, and one of the worst things that I see, I guess one of the things that make me feel the worst for somebody is when they're traveling through here on vacation.
Yeah.
And, we do what we can to get them helped out and everything like that. But then looking at the vehicle and knowing this is something that could have been avoided with just a little bit of maintenance. But having that kind of thing happen to somebody while they're away from their home, out of their
resources.
element.
Yeah. Very much. Let's see. 50,000. So Rex puts up there 50,000 miles is a little too much on old oil change. Yes, that is correct. So, let's see. You got what Jeremy says up there?
Working on a 2001 Durango, front wheel bearings, and the hub is not coming off easy. And finally found a hidden bolt.
Oh,
that was holding the whole thing on.
So he may have hooked a ratchet strap to something. Again, that's Jeremy. If you got more on that story, there's how many people were involved in it?
Right. Yeah.
How much time did it take? How many curse words were said in the process?
Mm-hmm.
There's more to that story for sure. I can tell you that. So also we can go through there. We got good morning, Delbert. Forgot to go through a couple of those, and looks like Jason's gonna be or is here with us today. So very good, Jason. So and then jump on give us a call here, 316-462-3673. Let's talk about your driveway mechanical story. So I got one more for you that that I was a part of, and again, this was really young, and this was an old wheat truck. It did not have turn signals, and thinking back now in my remembrance of it, I'm not even sure why we cared that it didn't have turn signals.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest. But you'd hit the, I don't remember how it was, but basically you'd hit the turn signals and the brake lights would do something weird, and then you hit the brake lights and the turn signals would do something weird. So the complexity of that system, what was wrong with it?
Well, it had to have been like the feeding
through the multifunction switch of it. Yeah. So we're sitting there, and this was my grandfather, and so instead of the complexity of the system confused him, and so instead of doing anything with it, he just put a couple of different switches in the dash and ran all new wires to the back through and just had different switches up on the dash for brake lights or for the turn signals and stuff like that, instead of going through the multifunction switch. And it was honestly, I think it took more ingenuity to do it that way than it did to fix the truck.
that's one way to fix it.
Yeah. But as far as I think of the time and the effort that was put into, and I mean money and materials, running wires, that many strands of wires all the way back, the cost of the switches, and I mean I'm sure it was just stuff that was lying around,
right?
Somewhere. But God, I think about that, and it just especially on an old truck like that, it would have took a matter of 20 minutes to just fix the problem. And so that was another one that just
and probably a $20 part.
Maybe. It just seemed very, very relevant for today's topic of discussion for sure. So I think Jeremy gave us a number. So a lot of 4-letter words were used. were used a lot.
Fingers.
4 people, a couple of broke fingers.
Did the broke fingers come before the adult beverages, or was that after?
A cutting torch was used. All right, we're about to the point where we can't type about this anymore. We're going to have to do this over the phone. Oh, yeah. And then Rex says only rich people have carports to work under.
I can't tell you how many times working on my old trucks and stuff like that, I'm out in the field, just laying in the dirt, changing transmissions, torque converters, all sorts of stuff. And just, it was always the worst when it was windy and you're laying under there and you got a transmission up on your knees and arms and you're trying to press this thing up in there and just getting a face full of dirt blowing across. And
I will tell you the difference in dirt and a concrete pad. Is a lifesaver. Yeah. So Rex, been there before too. So, especially part of working on a farm, you get stuff breaks all the time in the wrong the wrong spots, or and then everything's caked with mud and dirt and stuff all the time. So that's you watch those shows of like Gold Rush, or where they always got the mechanic that is kind of keeping this fleet of stuff going, and those guys, man, they don't want to shut down for anything,
right? So
unless it's absolutely necessary, and I couldn't even imagine that being in the middle of Alaska or something, and I need this $3 part. Hold on, you're telling me that this is going to shut down the whole entire operation,
right?
Over this $3 part? Come up with something.
Make it.
Do something.
Modify it. Whatever.
Yeah, there's some trees over there.
Yeah.
Get your pocket knife out. Start whittling something out of wood, and let's go for sure. So, anyways, 316-462. We got just a little bit of time left. Jump on the air here with us and tell us about your driveway repair story for sure. Jeremy, I hope there was a call coming in for that deal. So. And then Rex put on there, floor jack, don't roll in the dirt.
Yeah, no, it does not.
You
drag them through the dirt, but they don't roll real well.
It's more of a skid at that point. So
yeah.
But hey, let's go through and talk about one of the other things that we've talked about, kind of everything in the industry years ago, and maybe kind of what got you in the industry and stuff like that. But what's one thing that has changed in the industry that you really think is a game changer? So like a function on a car, or what you thought when you started into this industry you'd never see, and now you're seeing it. Because I've got
vehicles.
Okay, electric vehicles.
I mean, honestly, electric, and seems like there's a couple of manufacturers out there that are, dabbling in hydrogen powered vehicles. The whole alternative fuels segment in the automotive industry right now
is just intriguing.
It's just something that I thought, I thought was going to be a lot further off, and here we are.
So I, from my perspective, for me, it's about jetpack.
Yeah.
I've not got a jetpack yet. I want a jetpack.
I've got a song for that. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah,
show you later.
Tim Wilson sings it.
Tim
Yeah.
Wilson. Yes.
But for me, what I think is one of the things, I think the connected modem on vehicles
Yeah.
is I don't know as that I would say that I've never seen it coming, but to actually have it here and see how we can use it to better benefit our customers is I think is very big.
Yeah.
And so we can talk about that here a little bit, but let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Jim. Jim, good morning. You're on Live with Under the Hood.
Good morning. We haven't brought up around race cars and stuff. I worked on many cars from time I was a little kid. But my first car, the first time I had a flat tire on it, it was in the driveway, and I jacked it up and I tried to loose them first. I went and told Dad, "Boy, I can't get those loose. They're too tight. They're rusted in there or something." And he said, "Oh, you're just not putting enough into it." So I took the 4-way, which was about 2 foot leverage. Took that 4-way and twisted it 180 degrees, and the nut never moved. I took that 4-way in to show Dad, and he goes, "Oh, well, I guess they are rusted in there."
Well, what was the outcome? How'd we get it off?
I think we put a lot of penetrating oil in there and let them sit for quite a while.
Well, that's not where I was headed at all. I thought you had, because there were some cars that had left-handed threads on them.
Yeah.
So one side would be one way.
Yeah, the Chryslers were like that.
Yeah. One side would be one way and the other side would be left-handed threads. And I thought for sure you were going to tell me that it had left-handed threads on it and you were tightening it instead of loosening it. So
no, this was a 53 Ford.
Yeah.
But twisted a 4-way completely around. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Very. But
I wish I still had that 4-way.
Yeah.
the 4-way and the car both, right?
Oh yeah, especially the car.
It's
I had another quick story if you want to hear one. The guy talking about the trailer getting stopped with the trailers. Reminded me here. This was just a few years ago. My nephew asked me to haul a race car down to Little Rock for him, and so I was on Interstate 40, about to enter Arkansas. I knew I wasn't speeding, and there was a Arkansas State Trooper parked right on the line. I mean, I could see him for a mile before I got there. He started pulling out before I even entered into Arkansas.
He knew
he was going to stop me because I had a trailer. And, he pulled me right over, and he comes up, and it was a stereotypical Southern sheriff type attitude, He said, "What's in the trailer?" I said, "Well, it's unlocked. Go look. Just tell me what it is." "That's a race car." "Well, there's no racing going on now. It's January." I said, "Yeah, I'm aware of that." He said, "Well, where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to Little Rock." He said, "Well, there's no racing in Little Rock now." I said, "Yeah, I thought we just established that." He says, "Well, what are you going to do with it?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to drop the trailer. Another guy's going to pick it up." And he said, "Well, where's he going?" I said, "Judging by the kind of car it is, I'm assuming it's going to Daytona." He said, "Oh, well, now that's interstate commerce, and you're not tagged for that."
Oh.
I said, "Well, you don't make money racing. We spend a lot of money to race."
Yeah.
I said, "But if you want to make money racing, if you want to make a small fortune racing, I can tell you how to do it." He said, "Well, how's that?" And I said, "You start off with a big fortune." He never asked me for a license, insurance, or anything. He just turned around and stomped off.
That's funny.
Just wanted to know what was in the trailer.
Yeah.
That's a very good story. Very good story. Well, very good. Well, Jim, appreciate the call, and thanks for sharing with us.
Great show today. Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Well, hey, wanted to say thank you to all the people on the chat line, all the callers that called in and shared their story. And Kelly, thanks for joining us this hour. I think
good stories there. That was a lot of fun.
Flew right by for sure. So see, you didn't even have to worry about what you were going to do with your hands, right?
Didn't have to get Gus all upset with my hands all up in the air.
I didn't say anything to you. You weren't supposed to wear black today, and I forgot to say something about that. But anyways, like to go through and thank the sponsors of the show. So Big Corner Creative for all your marketing, advertising needs, anything, race car wraps, windows designs, web designs, anything for advertise your business. Big Corner Creative will get you taken care of over there. We've got BG products for all the great preventative maintenance items we use right here inside Mel Hambelton Ford. Go to Rent. If you're looking for a larger vehicle, we got Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July going to be right around the corner. Summer vacations, unbelievable, but we're almost to that time of year for summer vacations. So, but everybody have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next Saturday.